What if I told you the most ruthless, effective strategies for winning weren't invented yesterday? What if they were written over 500 years ago by a guy named Machiavelli? And what if most of the advice you're getting today about influence, negotiation, and leadership is actually weak? Like, really weak. Stick around, because we're about to expose why the old ways are still the best ways, and how you can use them without becoming a villain. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into the controversial, but undeniably powerful, ideas of Niccolò Machiavelli. If you're tired of playing nice and getting nowhere, or if you've ever felt like others always outplay you, we'll break down the core principles from his infamous book, The Prince, and show you how to apply them ethically in the modern world. Get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about power. So, who was Machiavelli, and why should we care about a guy who wrote a political handbook in 1513? Honestly, he was a diplomat, a historian, and a political philosopher living in a brutal time in Florence. Italy was a mess of warring city-states, constant backstabbing, and shifting alliances. Survival wasn't about being liked, it was about being effective. And The Prince wasn't some theoretical musing. It was a practical guide for rulers on how to gain and maintain power. Now, the word Machiavellian has become a dirty word, right? It means cunning, deceitful, manipulative. But let's be honest, are those tactics really gone? Or are they just hidden behind corporate jargon and polite smiles? Here's the deal. Machiavelli wasn't necessarily advocating for evil. He was describing what actually worked in the real world, a world that, frankly, hasn't changed as much as we like to think. And the biggest mistake people make today is ignoring these fundamental truths about human nature and power dynamics. Okay, let's get into the meat. The first big idea, and maybe the most shocking, is Machiavelli's take on whether it's better to be loved or feared. He famously concluded, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one of the two must be lacking." Well, right? Think about it. Love is fickle. People will break bonds of love when it suits them. But fear? Fear is a much more reliable motivator. It's tied to the dread of punishment, which is constant. Now, before you picture yourself as a tyrannical boss, Machiavelli clarifies, you want to be feared, but not hated. There's a crucial difference. Being hated leads to rebellion. Being feared means people respect your authority and understand there are consequences. It's about establishing clear boundaries and enforcing them consistently. In business, this means making tough decisions decisively, not dithering. It means holding people accountable. It's the difference between a leader everyone likes but doesn't respect, and a leader who commands respect because they're seen as strong and fair, even when they have to deliver bad news. So how do you apply this? Stop seeking constant validation. Make the hard calls. Be clear about expectations and consequences. It's not about being a jerk. It's about being a leader people can rely on to make the tough choices. Even if those choices aren't always popular, people will still respect you for it, which creates authority without resentment. Now, the next big concept is virtue. This isn't virtue in the modern, moral sense. For Machiavelli, virtue is about skill, prowess, strength, and the ability to adapt and act decisively to achieve your goals. It's the force you exert on the world. He contrasts this with Fortuna, which is luck, chance, or fate, the circumstances you can't control. Most people just react to Fortuna. They wait for good luck or lament bad luck. A person with Virtù doesn't just accept their fate, they actively try to shape it. Think of a brilliant CEO facing a market downer. They don't just sit back and hope for the best. They use their Virtù. They pivot strategy, innovate, cut costs ruthlessly if necessary, and rally their team. They are acting upon Fortuna, trying to bend it to their will. This is where your personal development comes in. How much time do you spend honing your skills, your Virtù, versus complaining about bad luck or circumstances? Are you actively learning, practicing, and preparing for opportunities? Or are you just hoping Fortuna smiles on you? The open loop here is, how do you develop this Virtù? when you feel like you're constantly battling circumstances. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the perception of strength. Machiavelli stressed that for a ruler, it's often more important to appear to have certain qualities than to actually possess them all the time. He said, "A prudent ruler ought never to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interest." Again, this sounds harsh, but he wasn't saying be deceitful. He was saying understand that your reputation is a powerful tool. You need to project qualities like mercy, faith, integrity, humanity, and religion. But you also need to be ready to act contrary to them if the situation demands it for the greater good or for your survival. Think about modern politics or even corporate negotiations. Leaders cultivate an image. They carefully craft their public persona. It's not necessarily about being fake. It's about strategic communication. You want to be known for your integrity, but if a critical deal requires a temporary, ethical compromise for a greater long-term gain, you need the flexibility to do that without your reputation shattering. The key here is discernment. When do you uphold your principles rigidly, and when is a calculated, temporary deviation necessary? This requires immense self-awareness and understanding of the stakes. It's about knowing when to be a lion and when to be a fox, as Machiavelli put it. The fox knows the traps, the lion frightens the wolves. You need both cunning and strength. This leads to one of the most controversial points, the use of cruelty. Machiavelli differentiates between cruelties that are well used and those that are ill used. Cruelties are well used, he argues, if they are committed once, in the seizure of power, and then not repeated. They are used for the security of subjects. Ill-used cruelties are those that increase over time rather than decrease. These make a ruler hated. Think of a startup founder who has to make a drastic, painful decision early on, like letting go of a failing project or a non-performing team member to save the company. That's a one-time, necessary cruelty for the survival of the whole. Compare that to a manager who constantly micromanages, publicly shames people, and creates a toxic environment. That's ill-used cruelty, and it breeds resentment and destroys morale. The lesson? When you absolutely must take a harsh action, do it decisively. Rip the Band-Aid off. Don't prolong the agony. And crucially, ensure it serves a clear, necessary purpose for the greater good, not just your ego. After that, focus on building trust and stability. Perhaps Machiavelli's most enduring advice is the need for adaptability. He believed that people prosper when their methods fit the times and fail when they are out of sync. There is nothing more difficult to plan, more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to manage than the establishment of a new order of things. You have to be willing to change your approach based on circumstances. What worked yesterday might be a disaster today. The blacksmith who refused to adopt new tools would go out of business. The company that ignores digital transformation will fail. This requires constant learning and a willingness to discard old, comfortable methods for new, effective ones. It's the core of Virtù, applying skill and foresight to navigate changing Fortuna. So, how do you cultivate this adaptability? Stay curious. Read widely. Talk to people outside your bubble. Experiment with new approaches in low-stakes situations. And critically analyze what's working and what isn't, both in the world and in your own actions. Now, I know this all sounds pretty intense, and maybe even a little scary. We've talked about fear over love, appearance over reality, necessary cruelty, and constant adaptation. These aren't exactly the feel-good platitudes you hear every day. But here's the thing. Machiavelli's insights are timeless because they tap into fundamental aspects of human behavior and power. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It just leaves you vulnerable. The crucial difference between being a Machiavellian villain and a highly effective, ethical leader is intention and application. You can use these principles for good. You can be decisive, fear, without being cruel. You can cultivate a strong reputation, appearance, while acting with integrity. You can be skilled and adaptable, Virtù, to achieve positive outcomes. It's about understanding the game, not necessarily playing it dirty. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is make the tough, unpopular decision that ensures long-term stability and success for everyone involved. So, my challenge to you is this. Identify one area where you've been playing too nice and getting weak results. Where could you be more decisive? Where could you cultivate a stronger, more respected presence? Where do you need to sharpen your skills and adapt your approach? If you found this deep dive into Machiavelli valuable, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube to show this to more people who are tired of weak tactics. And more importantly, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge you face when trying to be assertive or decisive? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many as I can. Thanks for watching. Remember, real power comes from respect, discipline, and the ability to act decisively when it matters. Go out there and be effective. See you in the next one.